And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the actual show. Welcome to episode 168 of New York Red Bull Discussion Group, the podcast. Garry Redmond here at your service, your host. Nick Lianos and Miguel Nunez will be with you shortly. So, a lot of topics up for discussion, and boy, we're going to have a whole lot of them. Of course, we're going to start with, Red Bull New York, their bad day at the office versus CF Montreal. A loss that is kind of disturbing, but somewhat expected, and we'll explain why. After that, of course, we're going to talk about New York Red Bull 2, how they dominated Inter Miami CF2 to remain undefeated. So far, they're having a terrific campaign. And later on this week, the first Saturday for New York, New Jersey Gotham FC, they're shipping up to Boston to begin their NWSL title defense. And, of course, Boston is the new Queens in town. They'll take care of that. Of course, after that break, when it's all said and done, we're going to talk to Nicholas Lianos. One of your hosts is going to preview Toronto FC versus New York Red Bull New York. That's going to take place on Saturday. Hopefully they've been able to get back that game. And for all intents and purposes, that's a match where, well, we really shouldn't, count those guys out quickly. Now, if you're watching the live show, which is exclusively to our members of the discussion group, if you happen to miss it, no big deal. Okay, you can always catch the recording on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. X and of course Spotify.com. Now, if for some reason if you miss the live show, don't sweat it. All those episodes are going to be up for your viewing and watching pleasure, effectively midnight on Wednesday. And finally, if you have any questions or comments about the podcast, we got an email address. Send it to us, okay? rbdgpodcast@gmail.com. That's rbdg, one word, @gmail.com. We always have to read your comments and questions and stuff, even long after our show signs off. And finally, last but not least, a happy birthday shout out to one of our wonderful members, Anthony Villanueva Torres. Happy birthday, Felisa Capatanos, my man. Hope you're enjoying your birthday along with family and friends. So, our first loss of the season for the Bradley and the Metro boys. A lot of tails and tongues are waggling about that. I mean, it's only first loss of 3 games. Nothing really to get too crazy about. But we're going to discuss how it happened, why it happened, and for some crazy reasons, these things are definitely young teams, but we're going to discuss that right now. And so, to begin our show, let us bring in, of course, your hosts, one and all, Nicholas Lianos, and, of course, Miguel Nunez. What a splendid in his Metro Stores scarf. Where did you get that scarf, man? People have been looking for it. That's the, wait a minute, that's one of the Red Bulls.
This at the arena, yeah.
Oh, that's the 20th anniversary scarf.
This was 2015, I think.
Yeah,
it's got 2015. Yeah.
20th anniversary scarf. I have that hanging somewhere like that. Okay.
I have like 50 scarves, Garry. Come on, I just pulled one out.
You're like me. Okay, I have what they refer to as when I was actually going to games, I had a scarf superstition. I would wear the same scarf when they won, but when they lose, I got to get another scarf. So that's basically how that went. So let's talk about the match versus CF Montreal. We know this club has a ridiculous habit of stealing games by doing the simple, tried and true formula, especially on the road. Score a goal, and then bunker down like nuts, for the next 90 or so minutes. But when the lineup came out, Miguel, I'm going to start with you. There were some people missing that made you scratch your head a little bit. Did that caught your eye before the?
I know we had Dylan Nealis missing and Don Core as well. I saw the lineup and they had they had Choupo-Moting in the spot where Emil Forsberg had played and had been effective, and they had Emil Forsberg down at one of the defensive midfielder spots, which I thought was very odd. We had a new defender in the I forget they got Volodare, right?
Mm-hmm. Making his first start.
And you know what? What I wondered was why do they have Chupo starting, and why do they have Forsberg like below him? Okay, I would have gone with the tried and true. Okay, I know in the pre session here, you guys were saying, "Well, you gotta play him." No, you leave Chupo on the bench as a super sub coming in. I think that's the way
But why
it
though?
it,
The
it,
man
it has
scored.
worked,
Didn't the
huh?
man score? Didn't the man score 15, 17 goals last I checked last year?
That was last year. We're going with youth now, Gary. Julian Hall. You let him do his thing. You let Forsberg provide from right below him, and then you bring Chupo on. Okay?
Okay.
That's the
Again,
formula now. But let me tell you this. I found that Forsberg like found himself way in the box most of the freaking time. And guess what? That leaves like an empty pocket, man, where one of our guys like Doncor is supposed to be, you know?
Mehmeti,
Well, yeah, exactly. Like in one of those spots, okay?
Mehmeti, and all these
But
guys.
I'm gonna tell you something. Like this game had 0-0, 0-0 written all over it, But the ref is the guy sucks. He should be deported. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
John Amaral in
But
5, 4,
I'm
3,
kidding. Yeah,
2.
John Amaral was saying, "Are we really talking about the refs?" Yes, because everybody and their grandmother saw that was not a penalty. The announcers were saying it, man. They go, "This is not a penalty. This is going to be overturned right now." And I don't know what the guy was watching, man. Okay,
I,
you tell me that was a penalty. Go ahead, Gary.
well, look, I didn't think it was a penalty myself. Okay, everybody in the press box was like, "Okay, that's going to be overturned." The next minute, he makes this announcement saying that it was a penalty, and we all looked at each other and said, "Okay, I guess this is one of those referees that's going to look. I said what I said, and that's
You're
and
not
I'm
going to change it.
sticking to, and I'm not going to change it." I mean, there are certain refs in the league, in the pro circuit. I hate to say this, they are not a fan of VAR. They really aren't. Okay, how would you like to be second guessed at your job? Okay, and
No, no, no.
I
If
mean,
I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
but
Okay?
sometimes egos. I
That
mean,
you know
you're
what?
saying refs don't have
That the
egos, just like
VAR
players.
that the give me a break. That the VAR told the ref, go check that out.
I mean,
Should tell the ref something, man.
you ain't. I mean,
Okay?
you're not Colina, one of the
No,
greatest
no,
referees in
no.
football
That
history.
guy, that guy
Okay,
was the best of all
That guy's
time.
the
Yeah.
best.
I mean that man scared teams into silence. Okay, believe
Just
you,
by
Colina,
looking at you.
just by looking at him, he was a look
Yeah.
of death. It's an and. I'm like, all right, okay.
I
That's
watched many games with that guy refing, and I can't remember that I said no. You're kidding me. That's a
no, he
mistake.
was. He,
He
Yeah,
he
he
told
was
you
was
in four
that
different.
getting
good.
it right, but
Right,
a
right,
lot of
He told you it in 4 different languages, so you got it one way or
right.
the other. Italian,
But
Spanish, English. You got it.
let me tell you, this ref he obviously got it wrong. The VAR told him, "Listen, you better go take a look because we don't think this is a foul." Okay, he took a look at that. He saw what everybody saw. The announcers were saying it's going to be overturned, and it wasn't, Gary. I don't understand it. Okay, why have VAR at all? Okay, and then as we saw like Montreal just sat back. Uh,
they
and
do what they always
they
do. They
that's fine. That's fine.
how
I'm not
many
going to
times? I mean, how
argue.
many
I'm
times
not going to
we
cry about that they didn't play football. Blah 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 blah.
right?
They
Listen,
had three. They had
you
4 good scoring chances in the first
right,
half. They should have scored 3. They could have easily scored 3 besides the penalty.
but
Ricky
listen,
sent
listen.
one.
Okay, we'll
Wiki
get to that part. Yeah,
Wiki Carmona took a free kick that was
right.
A ground ball to second.
a ground
Right.
ball.
A ground
The
ball that went past.
guys were
every
walking. Guys were
everyone's-
walking past the ball. Okay,
People,
our
people,
guys.
people are going to see this, and during the match recap, how inexplicably bad that set piece defense was. Okay, a free kick. I mean, it was a goal that I'm going to say this. Okay, it was a goal that last year's defense would have cleared.
Easy.
I mean, how do you? I mean,
Coronel doesn't even get the ball. The more the ball hits the ground, Coronel's eating that ball up.
I mean, Horvath was screaming at everybody. How did you let this? I mean,
well, he didn't move either. He just stood there too.
Didn't move, right? He didn't move. I was like, you should be screaming at yourself, bro. You let it go past you.
You put one of our players at the far post, and the goal doesn't happen. Okay, all right. And let me just tell. Speaking of Horvath, okay. That third goal
I told you about Horvath. I told you about Horvath and his, and his issues. Okay, I told you about him. I did say that. Okay, you didn't tell me to shut up, but he was like, "Yeah, guy, well, he's an upgrade." Yeah, but
no, but you know what, man? Carlos Coronel had the same issue. I know we don't have. John Luigi Donnarumma. I know we don't have Donnarumma, man.
No, we don't.
Okay, but he's pretty good. He's a pretty good keeper. And just let me tell you, all these guys, all these teams that want to play out of the back, don't play out of the back when there's guys coming at your guys that you're trying to play it out of the back from, man. Just kick it out.
That happens everywhere in the league, man.
Right, it does, but it doesn't need to happen to us. I don't care about everybody else.
Because
okay,
I hear you.
I just didn't like the reaction from Ethan after
right.
That was the more puzzling. You threw a 16-year-old under the bus, dude. Honestly, what are you doing?
No, it's his fault. Okay.
Yeah, I'm blaming Ethan Horvath for the goal. I'm not blaming Audrey at all for the thing. No. You put him in a bad spot. Yes, his touch was bad, but where was he supposed to go with the ball? Even if he did make a control of the pass, who's he passing it to? The left back was covered. The center back was covered. Shea didn't want nothing to do with the ball. So who's he passing it to?
Kick it out to touch, Garry. What is it? Is Mr. Bradley going to fire Horvath? Come on, kick it out to touch.
If I'm Bradley, I told Garry before, if I'm Michael Bradley, we have a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a guy coming back from a knee injury that's chomping at the bit to take your spot. Please don't make this
easy decision for me.
Make this an easy decision because the 15-year-old kid looked real good yesterday for RB2. Stokes, we already know what he's capable of, and he's getting better as he's getting older. And AJ was AJ's AJ, and they were grooming him to be the replacement.
Right, he was the heir apparent up until the knee injury.
And Ethan's got a 1.5-year contract. It's not more than a 1.5 years guaranteed. He's got 18 months. These kids are all ready and chomping at the bit to come up. They were chomping at the bit to get Coronel's spot. So don't think these guys. I'm like, okay, he keeps messing up. I'm gonna move up the ladder too.
Listen, this was just an unbelievable game to have lost. Okay, at worst, it should have been 0-0, and we should have picked up another point. Okay,
right. Hold that thought for just 1 second.
Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna do the match recap, and then we're gonna ask those questions. Among one of them, something that John Amaral, that pointed out as always. It's always good, picking up the blind spots here in the show. That's why he is a friend of the show. But as somebody put it to him, why are we always doing the match recap after losses? Is because we are contractually obligated to do so. As such, here is the match recap of yesterday's match.
Littered in opportunity. And away we go for the first of a Super Sunday double helping on Apple TV. And here in New Jersey, two sides trending in opposing directions. Down the line they go. Ivan Jaime now. Real opening for CF Montreal. Jaime down under the challenge. Referee says penalty.
Get that touch in front of Che there. You can see there that leg.
Sergi Boyko and the two captains, Emil Forsberg and Prince Alusu, they're going to go to the monitor here. Further check required, it seems. And you get the feeling, Kalen Carr, once they have a look at what we've seen, the decision will be obvious, will it not?
I mentioned on the second look that I got that it did look like Che was able to get the ball. It's just a matter of Where does the contact come first? So right there, yes, it does look like that first touch with the left foot, the toe, makes contact. You can tell by the...
After review, number 2 Red Bull, committed tripping confirms, final decision penalty kick.
Sylvan. Owusu scores! Montreal off and running.
Not a foul for me, but either way, Owusu steps up, the little stutter step, and then close to the hip at the last second. And CF Montreal, with their first goal of the season, expect them to keep their nerve and try to just put it behind you. The referee decision, have to try to continue to recapture this energy.
Nearly an instant response, but a corner for the home side.
Right down the gut of the back line, and Rebel Kava is stuck inside. It's a clever little layoff with the outside of the right foot that sets up Forsberg.
Julian Zakshevsky Hall picks up the pieces. This is now Kay Cowell. Cowell across. Choupo-Moting. Rubalcaba. Hall with the efforts in the end. Carmona and Jaime over the ball. With the left foot of Carmona through the traffic, it goes, it's in! Ricky Carmona with a goal against his former employer. Disaster for Red Bull New York. And blue jubilation for CF Montreal. They'll have a problem.
Here a pin drop here at Sports Illustrated Stadium, and it's a brilliant strike, just low and hard towards that back post. And former Red Bull man against his former side doesn't celebrate, but it's a massive goal for CF Montreal through the crowd. It's a perfect look at it here. And
Dos Santos brings it forward now for the home side. Is there an opening for Red Bull New York? It's cleared away and into the path of Gillier. Fortune very nearly favouring Red Bull New York. Jaime to the path of Carmona. Couldn't do it again, could he? Petrosso. Jaime took the sting out of the ball. Give her half a yard. Montreal won't give. Marshall Rutti left fly! The end on the Swiss under-21 international Noah Street. Cheap giveaway! It's 3! CF Montreal turn heads and tighten their grip. It's Ricky Carmona again.
cannot play that ball unless it's serious. You can see right there where he's saying, come to me, but can't play that ball understanding that the pressure is on his back. It's not directly to Red Bull number 2, and it turns into a game of momentum and confidence, and the early goal, I think, really helped them.
Mina! Still gathered by Gillier.
Good little turn there from Mina.
Hall. Opened up here for Rubalcaba and takedown! Essentially what Marco Donadel insinuated to us the other day as Roel Mitchell finds himself in behind. A rather routine save for Gillier. They have ripped Red Bull New York apart in their own backyard. In what world was this ever going to happen?
Person we can't wait to see this guy get going soon, but he came in the 85th minute. He made his first appearance since March 23rd of 2024. It's a 2-year journey for this young man, guys, and finally he was able to make it with the big club. So when it's all said and done, you know, it just didn't happen for these guys, okay? They slipped up, they made mistakes, and Montreal did what Montreal does best. They just simply packed the midfield, packed the defense, and basically dared Red Bull to do something with it, and they didn't. Red Bull basically had some shots in anger, but unfortunately, not much else. Nick, am I wrong in that subject? I mean, you graded everyone a low grade on that match.
Yeah, well, we didn't do much in the second. We didn't do much until we had the one good shot from Emil on the break when we were going back, and then they had the one from Hall, and then the rest of the thing was when it was 3-0 at that point. The game was basically over. Montreal knew they were getting the points. Give Donadal, Montreal's head coach, credit.
Give the man his flowers. I mean, he came in with a good
game plan. He basically put one person on top of Adrian Mahmedi, and he dared everybody else to beat them from the sides. And Cade couldn't get around he couldn't get around the defender. Jorge Rubacala was ineffective. He didn't get the ball in the first half. He didn't have the ball in the first half at all. We're playing up. Yeah, he didn't get the
Nick. He was neutralized.
Yeah, he was basically
wasn't doing anything.
He got basically no touches. Chupo is what he is at this point. He was coming. If you're coming all the way like where we started off last year, if he has to come all the way back to midfield to get the ball to be active, you're not going to have a great Chupo. And that's what happened in this game. Same thing happened in this game. Same thing. We were missing a midfielder, and that Dunkar provides that he can open up space and thread passes. Because if Montreal was going to get beat, they wanted to get beat over the top, and we couldn't get it done.
Midfield. Let me just ask this question to the both of you. And this is something that, John Amaral pointed out. I mean, Gustav Bregman. Remember him? Okay. He's sitting on the bench. I mean, I don't know if he's fit. He's saying maybe he's not fit or probably doesn't believe he can keep up with the progress with the ball. Experimenting with Rojas suggested that he doesn't believe in Gustav. I don't know if that's the case, but when you have a seasoned veteran midfielder who can able to pitch in and do stuff, as we've seen, despite the fact that it was a horrible year last year, what's going on? I mean, from your view, Nick.
I wanted him on I would have thought he would have started right away with the absence of Dunkar. I thought he was we've seen him play last year. He was moving the ball. Defense was not the priority, but that team last year was bad. So I wasn't going to grade him out based on what he was doing last year, because last year was just a lost year. But I understand he missed some time with the birth of his child.
Right.
But did he not fit? Because the old coaching staff and GM wanted him. They went nuts to get him.
Yeah.
They tried the year before, couldn't get him. Tried in January, couldn't get him. And then they finally got him in August. And then we had the issues getting him over. But when he did finally come, it wasn't anything bad. But again, that team was by the end of the time, by the time he started playing, the season was already lost. So, and you can't really judge what we were seeing from that point.
Right, and I remember when he played those few games at the end of last season, right? And I remember at some point I asked you, Garry, we couldn't get better in MLS.
No. I mean, I've been saying for a long time. I mean, it comes to one of three things. Okay, one is that if you are a sporting director, GM, what have you, you know certain players, you know certain agents, and you don't have to do very much to sell them to come to the club, to come to the club. In our case, there's this stigma that nobody wants to come to Red Bull. Nobody wants to, thinking I don't think it's a money issue. It's just a reputation. And for what it's worth, okay, Julian de Guzman did more work in 3 months than his predecessor did in 3 years. Okay, turning over half a roster of anywhere from mid to bad players. Now there were some head scratchers. Let's be honest. Okay, I certainly wouldn't gotten rid of Nealis to DC. That's one. And I certainly, I would have gave maybe, a chance with
Lewis.
Lewis Morgan. Okay, maybe give him one more season for him to get healthy because he's going to do so with San Diego. I mean, if he continues to get injured over there, maybe he should just simply hang up his cleats and call it a career. But I believe he's got about maybe one, maybe two more seasons, and then the haunting of old players will not cease. We're going to be seeing DC soon. I don't think we got San Diego this year.
Yes, we do. We have him in the second half.
In the second half, we're going to have San Diego next year. We're going to be running into him if he gets healthy and gets hot.
We're getting to see both Edelman and Lewis both here in the second half of the year.
Okay, so I think St. Louis comes to us after looking at the schedule. St. Louis comes to us. We're going to be seeing Daniel Edelman, and I'm sure he's going to do what Wiki did. Oh, remember me? And carve up that midfield. Let's that midfield get their act together. So this is what I mean by growing pains. Okay, the one that hurt for me was Sean Neal's going to DC. Never mind the fact you sent her to DC, but my thought was, wait a minute, what do you our only serviceable center back? You're sending him to DC, who hasn't even touched the field yet. While he's with DC, so
they had 76,000 people in Baltimore to watch him yesterday on Saturday afternoon. But
who hasn't even made the starting 11 yet? He's just on the bench. Okay, so what did you send him off for? He went from captain to fighting for his spot for his life, and now he's with DC. Whoa, I mean, what a journey for this Long Island kid. I feel bad for him, but that's where he is. But I'm going to ask everybody in the panel and all our guests right now, should we panic? I don't think so. It's just one loss. I mean, didn't stop one guy.
The season just started, Garry.
I know. You didn't stop one guy from calling for the coach's head.
That was Moses. Moses always says that after the first match. Moses says that always.
Yeah, Moses was like, fire the guy. I'm like, what?
No, he just does that. That's his first reaction of the first loss of the season. We're going up to Toronto to watch the game, so we're gonna be up there freezing, up in BMO Field and enjoying it.
Yeah, you can't win MLS Cup in March, Garry. So.
No, you can't.
But we can make the playoffs in March.
John had a good point, though, and this is the reason why I'm going to put it on the screen for everyone to see. There's no doubt they were a bad team last year. Probably close to that, but then a good team, and then we are a ton better than other teams. We're just not that right. I mean, it's still a work in progress, John, and I think you can see that with your own eyes. It's a work in progress, and it's going to take a while, which is probably what I've been telling everybody, and I'm going to repeat it once again. Recalibrate your expectations. Whatever expectations you have on this squad, put it on the table and leave it there. Just leave it there. It's not going to go anywhere. Those expectations are always going to be there. Okay.
I expect them to win MLS Cup this year, Garry. Okay, because how many rebuilds can I go through? I'm getting old. All right. You see this gray? I'm getting old. All right.
Hey man, I had to shave my off. So,
how many rebuilds do they have to go through, bro?
You see this white
Open
stuff?
Cup. Open Cup is a realistic thing that we can actually.
I'll take an Open Cup victory.
I mean, hey, I think if you ask the majority of people in the group and majority of people in the fan base, okay, your team is rooted in last place and not going yet, but they have a 90% chance of winning U.S. Open Cup. Would you take it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think most people would. I mean, you know why? Because it happened to D.C. They had the worst season ever, okay, but they still wound up with silverware.
Okay.
People were driven nuts over that. It was like, how did these twerps down in the district wound up with the worst season of all, but they wound up with silverware?
I think we had our chance just a few years ago.
Last year we had a great chance.
Yes, but when we went down to Orlando, remember
that game imploded. We imploded in that game, but last year we had a better shot at it. Realistically,
all right,
we had a 12 minutes up. Well, in the last 10 minutes of a game, and we're up a goal in Philly, and hosting the next round.
And what happened after that?
Exactly, but I'm saying we had
I mean,
a realistic shot.
Philly will do what Philly will do.
We
Okay, I
imploded.
mean that. I mean,
We gave it to them. We imploded.
yeah. I mean, it's the difference between the team that we had last year, where a coach will look at the bench and go, "Huh, I ain't got no weapons," against a team that had, even on a bad day, has better weapons than we had that year. It's just that simple. I mean, we were not winning in Philly. It was that simple. We were not winning. I mean, they were lights out at Subaru Park. Lights out. And that's all there is to it.
We could have won We could have won at Orlando.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We were up 1-0.
They were up 1-0, and then
5 straight.
and then we slipped on the and then we slipped on the banana peel, and we got walked out the club. It was a good news, bad news situation for the home team, because while the Metro Boys walked off and did a long walk home of shame, meanwhile, guess who was undefeated still? New York Red Bull 2-3. Inter Miami CF 2-0. Jimenez, Rodriguez, and Gallagher with a penalty kick. 3 minutes into stoppage time. They are at this point, still undefeated. They are defending their title quite nicely. Thoughts about this, Nick?
What a great goal! The second goal by I just drew a blank on his name. Sorry, Rodriguez. What a goal by the kid! Well, that second goal was perfect shot.
I mean,
right
there was not a lot of people there. Of course, a lot of people went home, but it brought down the house.
What a shot! The first two goals were great. Ball movement from one side to the other side, and ball in the back of the net. Perfect. Gutierrez looked like a real deal. The kid that Jerry is going to be looking at, and we went looking for, Red Bull went sought after and got to sign, was Paul Skoloff. Mm-hmm. And he made his debut for the team. He's the big up and comer now through the academy coming up to go with Jimenez, he keeps scoring. Last year, in the first half of the year, he was scoring. Then he got a little injured. Then Mitchell took over, and he started scoring like crazy. Mm-hmm. Jimenez just took over again. He was okay. I'm going to score again now. He scored last game. He scored this game.
These wonderful kids that we have down in New York Red Bull 2, they're knocking on the door. They're doing their thing. They're defending their title and such. And it won't be very long until most of those guys that we see still in New York Red Bull 2 signing first-year contracts. The future is bright, with this organization. This takes me back during the 2016, 2012, 13, 16 time, era, when we had even a strong New York Red Bull 2 and in the USL, and later on they became first team ballers. Maybe lightning in the bottle will strike again, and then take us, if they can able to keep that group together, sprinkled with some, I don't know, a superstar or two, or maybe some better ballers around them, and have a much more deeper team. And then maybe, Miguel, we can have one hell of an adventurous season where they're going to be challenging all trophies. One can hope.
One can only hope. Come on, especially me. Come on. It's going to be this year. It would be 30 years ago since the Metro Stars started play. I forget if it was in March or was it in April. I was there. April. Okay, I was there at the first game.
It's
and you know what? 30 years later, still nothing. Okay, so there you go.
Hey, I used to roll with 30. When we was coming to the games at Giants Stadium, we used to roll with 30 people deep. All right, they loved their footy. 30 became 15. It became 5,
right.
And I'm the only one left. I mean, many of them are gone on. Many of them are gone to support NYCFC, who they feel. One guy comes in my face saying, I feel vindicated because we knew the Metro Stars wasn't going to do nothing. And Red Bull, they're still not going to do nothing. But I remain committed. I remain faithful. One of these days, hopefully before I die, they'll do me the solid and win a cup. It would be very bad if they do that after I died. I'd be very upset.
But you know what? As Carlos Cano would say, it doesn't matter if the Red Bulls win because no one's going to care. Okay, I'm going to care. Okay,
the Red Bull. This was 20.
Look,
sorry.
If anything else, you know who's really going to be celebrating like a bunch of madmen? We are.
Me.
We are. We're all going to get together with a bottle of champagne that I got sitting up in my kitchen that I bought way back in the day. I don't know if it's still good or not. I'm going to open that sucker up the day we get, and every one of you guys are going to have a swig. That I promise you. Right. New York Red Bull 2 will be taking on New York City FC 2 at Belson Stadium. That will take place at 7 o'clock. Yep, they're starting the
Sunday.
Sunday. I'm thinking about going to that game. I don't know.
If I'm back in Toronto, I'll be back. I'll go. Yeah. Not too far from me.
I mean, it's not too far from where you are, but it's more than a hike for me. Next for New York Red Bull, for Red Bull New York, Toronto. And then after the break, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Lianos is standing by to tell the wonderful tale about Toronto FC. They got their first wins over the weekend, and they're feeling good about themselves. They're probably even feeling better now that they're dealing with, Bradley Ball and company. And Josh Sargent, did he signed for the club, but he's not.
He'll be there Saturday.
Saturday. So this should be interesting and good. But first, we'll be back in about 30 seconds. You're watching New York Red Bull Discussion Group, the podcast, episode 168. Our next opponent we're sticking with the Canadian group. Of course, we did with Montreal. Now we're going up to Toronto, one of my favorite cities, and taking on Toronto FC. That game was be an afternoon tilt. Note the time. It will be starting at 1 o'clock, 1:15 kickoff. These two teams have been banging heads to each other regularly 24-9-11. At Toronto 7-7-9. This is going to be the 75th all-time meeting. Their last win up in Toronto was on October 2nd, 2024, 4-1. The winners for Red Bull New York. There's going to be a homecoming of sorts, okay? Michael Bradley comes back to the club where he had, of course, basically his greatest success while he was the captain of that club, when they basically won almost every damn trophy in existence.
They went
until the CONCACAF Champions Cup, when they lost to the eventual champion. But since then, they've been on hard times, Nick.
Yep.
And it looks like there's going to be somewhat of a red resurgence. Nick, the floor is yours.
Okay, so Toronto FC, the TFC as they like to be called, has new coach in the second year, Robin Fraser, who used to coach Colorado. They're off to a 1-2 start with 3 points.
Yeah, Robin Fraser was.
I don't remember that. I crossed that part off. He was not good with us. He was not good. It's the first game at BMO Field this year as they expand it for the World Cup. They're going from 30,000 seats to 45,000 seats.
Wow!
Whoa.
Yeah, 30,000. They're adding 15,000 seats for the World Cup. Where the first Canadian game will be there. They're doing 9 straight home games to test it out, see how it works.
9
and straight. They had 3 on the road. They have 9 straight, and they get 6 on the road. So we're the guinea pigs with them to figure out how the stadium is going to be. How they're going to exit, figure it out with the parking situation. This rivalry, this was a fierce rivalry for a good 4-year period.
Yeah.
With Brent Bradley was there, with Altidore there. This was one of the top rivalry. This was the top rivalry in the East. This was the top rivalry in the East for a good 4-year period before the Atlantas and everybody else thought they were our rivals. They love to spend money. They have done it for all the time.
Something that we don't.
They just never had the results. They just don't have the results in the last year. Remember, they went big and bold. They brought the Italian guys, Bernardeschi and Sangane, and
Giovinco.
And didn't work out for anything. They got them a wooden spoon. They finished in last place with all these guys. So they went up to even better. They went up and got Josh Sargent, spending close to $30 million to bring Josh Sargent in from Norwich. Josh Sargent in the championship in England is a 15. He's been averaging 15 to 16 goals on average for 4 straight years. The kid can score. He's only 25 years old. He's coming back home. They went out and got Walker Zimmerman on a big deal for 5 years.
The guy I wanted to get.
They went out and got Georgi Mihailovic from Colorado. They spent $1 million to get him. They brought in Daniel Soliday at the dead right before the season started from KC. They brought in 4 players on loan.
Who scored the winning goal, by the way, from last week?
This week, and they brought in Jose Cifuentes from Rangers to play midfield. Benjamin Kusovic from Brazil to play center back, and Arstobal from a Colombian striker. They reworked this whole team. They got rid of everybody that didn't fit. They said, "Okay, we got to do something better," and they kept our old friend Derek Etienne Jr. is still there. Mm-hmm. They picked up Raheem Edwards after we dropped him, and still there and still playing is Richie Larea and Jonathan Osorio. They're still there. They've been playing for I can't remember how that. They're like 6 years at least.
Two of the guys that I think they're the last 2 guys left that won MLS Cup. The two of the last guys standing. Everybody else is new.
MLS Cup with
Toronto.
With TFC?
Yeah.
What year was that? If I don't remember.
7th. Wait, 7th. It can't be 18? 2018?
Really?
28.
Okay. So they lost to Seattle and they beat Seattle. It was back-to-back years. I can't remember. So
that's a massive franchise, mates. Okay.
Yeah. So they're going to spend money. Maple Leaf Entertainment is known for it. They're spending money. They're trying to pick a winner, produce a winner.
2017 is they beat the Seattle.
One they beat Seattle, and one they lost, and then one they lost to Seattle. So this is Bradley's homecoming. So Bradley's going back home to this. So this is going to be a fun atmosphere. Hopefully it doesn't snow. That's good. It is supposed to snow on Friday morning, and then again Saturday night. So hopefully between we can get the game in.
That lake effect snow is a bitch. I hate to say.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So first game, new field, new team, big atmosphere. It's sold out. They have 45,000 people coming to this game.
Wow.
So it's going to be welcome. It's a big welcome home, and our boys better be ready for this.
I mean,
yeah.
I they had a sizable crowd over in Orlando. Okay, they showed up and they showed out. Okay, they didn't sell out the place, mind you, but it was a pretty impressive atmosphere for Orlando. Toronto, oh boy. They are ready to wait. They're ready to welcome home, their native son, American son, who, like I said, arguably
they've been looking forward to this game for the World Cup, and since Canada's actually done very well against the U.S. on the soccer field, this game has a lot of meaning. And it's a grass field. They're keeping it new pitch, new everything. It's all done. They're basically kicking out the Argonauts for the time being to get this game for the World Cup. They're not playing
out the football team. That
kick out the football team for the World. Yeah, okay, you guys got to pick someone else.
Won the championship, but wrecked their field in the process. Yeah. I mean,
so they kicked them out for a while, so they can play all the World Cup games in the end ready. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere.
Now, Miguel, as these two teams, like I said, this is going to be the 75th time they're going to be bumping heads to each other. Throughout the years, I mean, you and I remember, they were at each other's throats.
You know what it was, Gary?
Do you agree? Do you think it's still a rivalry at this point or no?
No, come on. I mean, the thing about when Toronto started coming to Giant Stadium, their fans were just annoying as F. Okay, they would every year they bring these those big banners saying something witty, you know. I mean, that was about it. I never thought it was a rivalry even back then, because our team would usually stick it to them. I remember the final game our team played at Giant Stadium. That was like a 5-0 drubbing of Toronto.
A game they needed to win to make the playoffs.
They needed to win that. As a matter of fact, and they had a Amado Guevara on their roster, one of our main guys in the late part of that decade. And then we stuck it to them 5-0, and I think that was, it was just satisfaction that they didn't go through the playoffs. But that's it. But you know what? They've won MLS Cup already, Gary. Okay?
They got a star over there, Chris.
That's it.
Yeah. They have a star.
How many stars do we have over our Crest? How many stars? We have 0. No. Okay?
Of course, that's going to be a sore subject. But focusing on the game itself. You got to pretty much have a decently young squad, okay?
Yeah.
And you're going to be coming into what is undoubtedly going to be a very hostile atmosphere.
A hostile atmosphere?
How
from the roster that Nick read off there, it looks really good on paper. Yeah. Okay?
They just beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati, so they went up to Vancouver, caught a beating, came back cross country, went back, beat Cincinnati in Cincinnati, and now is going back home. So
and they're going to have Josh Sargent,
and his debut.
His debut.
I
go ahead.
It looks like to me Red Bull coming in as spoiler, It's like, oh, okay, let's spoil their debut. Like just somebody spoiled that. But what I'm worried about, gentlemen, is, you just played the game where you stunk up the joint at your home place, okay, and arguably against a team which everyone thought that you can beat. Now you're going to be playing up against one of the Eastern Conference Lions, okay. TFC ain't no joke, okay, and they're even more not a joke over at BMO Field. What are you thinking at this point? How are you getting this team, ready to be, to have everything coming at you, atmosphere, team, and all, Miguel? How would you tell your squad, to prepare for this?
Well, you know what? I would have to tell him that, you got to play your game as you did the previous 2 games, okay? You got to he's got to get the lineup right, Mr. Bradley. Okay, and he's got to get them to play with intensity. Okay, I think that's what we had, especially in that first game against Orlando. That was just intense. Okay, especially that first half. The second half, not so much. Okay, but the first half was intense. Okay, I think they got to play with that, and then he's got to look at some of these guys that played this past game, and weren't that good, and hopefully we have a couple of players that played in those first games back, and we can have a real solid defense, because I think we're going to need it, okay? And you know what? Our offense has to wake up, okay? This was, let them, tell them, listen, this was an off game. We need you guys to score this coming game, okay? And then there's no reason why they can't. Okay, Toronto is going to want to score. Okay,
they would want to have they want to have a major, if necessary, boss these kids around. And
they're going to want to score.
Walk these guys out the club. Speaking of which, Nick, what part of that match worries you the most? Getting shut down offensively or getting run out the gym defensively for the Red Bulls?
How do we control this midfield? because they have a solid midfield. Mihalovic, Pereira, and Carbano, they know what they're doing in midfield. The midfield is fine. They play a 3-5-3, so they're gonna outnumber us in the midfield too to begin with. It's how we can get how Audrey's going to be able to control Mihalovic and keep him in check a little bit, not whipping the ball around over the top. And Josh Sargent against Shea, it should be an advantage for them. But on the other side, our wings, Cade should have a good matchup against Larea. Larea is much smaller than him, but Cade's much faster and stronger.
Yeah, he's got the wheels. I mean, he'll get past Larea. But the question is, will he be able to get past Larea with the ball? Because, like you said, that midfield, defensively, offensively, I see a big fact. Traffic jam. They got to find a way to get over, around them, and through those guys to have any sort of success. Defensively, I'd say they're better than most teams out there. Okay, they especially when you have Walker Zimmerman patrolling the center back position. He may have lost a step or two, but don't tell him that. He's
still 6'3".
6 foot. I mean, he plays a man possessed. Like he wants to own that block.
You're not gonna go over him.
No,
he's 6'3". You got to go around him to get him. He still wins every ball in the air. He's still very physical on the ground. So you're gonna have he did get a little nicked up, so he did come out early against Cincinnati. So his availability might be in check, might be a good concern. But if he's healthy, like a Chupo Zimmerman matchup will be interesting to watch. If Chupo starts, that'll be interesting to watch on the field. So that's what I would definitely start. If Chupo, I would look to start Chupo in this matchup. I think it would be why? I think because they're going to need someone to hold the ball, and against this team, and Chupo does those little things that
Hall can't.
Hall is still learning it. Well, Hall's getting it, but I might start them together. But I wouldn't start Hall as a midfielder. I may change.
He was definitely out. I mean,
he was out of position. He didn't look.
He was out of position. He was out of his element. I mean, when you have someone that talented up front, you don't want to kill his confidence for putting him someplace out wide. I mean, I'm not saying he looked lost, but
wasn't comfortable.
He wasn't comfortable, and he took himself out of plays that he really shouldn't have done. And I felt that was a key element of literally handing Montreal the win, Miguel. I mean, when your best offensive player is playing, basically a shell of his former self, you might as well just wipe the white flag. I mean, and then you got, Montreal was a trip up compared to TFC. TFC is a major test this season just to see just how good your club is. I mean, we'll talk about predictions in about a second, but from what Nick
it's kind of early in the season it's kind of early in the season still, like with all the changes that our team has gone through. They might, theoretically, I don't know that they're, gelled,
but that's the key point, right? They're still figuring. I mean, for a couple of games, Miguel, it's going to be a high. My name is, and trying to get to know each other on the field. But pretty soon, all that's going to come together. Don't forget, many of the guys who were injured from last year, they're going to be available. They're going to come back.
Harper should be. Harper
has been graduated to questionable. Okay,
he's inching his way back. Dylan should have been. Dylan was probably Daniel Robain, one of your colleagues, posted it.
Day by day.
Yeah, he posted it. He goes, he went through pregame, and they just held him out for caution. Just goes, it's a long season. Let's not do anything stupid.
Right.
And he should be. He probably will be available for this week in Toronto. So that helps the team going on defense.
And Sofo, he's coming along as well.
Sofo is questionable, and he might be coming back into the picture too. So you're gonna get more people more active people and wingers coming in, and Harper could play a little more. He could play that midfield role too.
Also, he can play fullback as well. I mean, which is his, believe it or not, his more natural position. I mean, he's not too shabby back there, Nick, in the fullback
No, he's not.
position.
Yeah,
but he's more comfortable, in his spot, of course, as a winger because he's a weapon. Okay, if he is fully fit and he's a weapon. I mean, we've seen what he can do when he is, when he's 100%. He's a handful. He's a pain, to deal with. But that's going to be a while before, all that takes place because once they hit the pitch, they're going to need some trigger time. My suggestion: put them in, Red Bull 2 to get their feet wet for a while. I mean, if they're going to be needed, Sofo, Harper, all those guys, put them in Red Bull 2, get their feet wet, and then after a couple of games with there, bring them up to the big club and see what happens. See what they can do. But for now. You're going to have to experiment just a little bit more. Sure, the fans are not going to like it. I know our fans are not going to like it, but that's all you got until you can able to find something, find something before the deadline closes. I think they got a couple of weeks before they do that. So we'll come down to the dangerous part of our show, predictions. I'm feeling hopeful, but I'm not going to be too surprised if it comes up into a loss. Nick, what say you?
Oh boy, the things I hate about
you're gonna be there live. You're gonna be there live and in color, my brother.
Yeah, we're driving up Friday night to go up there. Games at 1 o'clock. So
is it faster driving or flying?
Well, we didn't decide. We decided last minute, so we're like, okay, we can drive. Let's go. And
what's the time? How long does it take you to drive with that?
It's 7 to Buffalo and another hour and a half to Toronto. So it's 8.5.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Okay.
Plus the border, whatever the border is. So we're looking. So for the game, unfortunately, I think this is Toronto's coming. Is going to be Toronto's coming out party. Probably a highly entertaining game. I'm going with 3-2 Toronto.
You're really testing that Toronto's back line. They're not too. I thought I was under the impression that Toronto's back line's a little better than Montreal, but then again, it's very.
I don't think we're gonna have a stink. I don't think we're gonna have such a stinker. I think we're gonna rebound from that, but I think this is wrong place, wrong time.
I mean, yeah, one bad call can ruin the entire game. Nick, what say you, man? You feeling hopeful or you feeling?
Miguel,
were you asking me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We're gonna lose. I think I see a 3-1 in the cards.
Ouch.
A Josh Sargent hat trick. Thank you.
Josh Sargent hat trick. Okay. Well, I'm gonna be the only one. Okay, 1 win, 1 loss. I'm going to break the tie and go a draw. I'm going to go a 2-2 draw here. I mean, the reason why I say that is because redemption can be very good for the soul. They know how bad they messed up at the Cathedral. I mean, when we were waiting to interview the coach after the game, it took a while. Really, it took a while because I'm sure Bradley had some words, over what took place on the field. There were some things that he didn't like, and he pretty much said so. If you guys are in the discussion group, you saw, my video recording. You can able to see it from front to end. He was not too thrilled of what happened. He said it was a learning lesson. You saw what you did wrong. From this point, let's not do this again. So I'm pretty hopeful that although it will be a much better performance up against a team, like, I'm not calling them a super team. What Nick described, that midfield sounds like a monster. It sounds like, pretty much of a tough hill to climb, but we'll see where it goes from there. Well, as they say now that the fun has all been said and done, you hear that wonderful music, it simply means that we have reached the end of our show. as always, of course, if you are a member of the discussion group, you're seeing this show live in living color, as we always do for our pre-show, even for some of our, our wonderful supporters. For those of you who are also subscribers, you're seeing this as well. If you miss it, no big deal. The show will be uploaded in its entirety from start to finish, with the exception of the pre-show in our YouTube channel, X, and of course on Spotify.com, effectively midnight Wednesday morning. So you can be able to watch Nick and Miguel and myself, for your listening and viewing pleasure. Next week, Lonray and the coach, Mark Coates, will return to talk about, oh boy, to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to have New York Red Bull 2, New Jersey, New York Gotham FC. Oh, by the way, like I said, they're going to be shipping up to Boston to take on, one of the newest teams, WNSL, and they're going to start their championship, their championship drive. We'll talk about that as well, and of course, New York Red Bull 2. So,
and don't forget to talk about the Cosmos. I think they're opening up.
That's right. I think, yes, they are. As a matter of fact, yes, they are. We'll talk about, although they're not in our purview yet.
Okay.
The boys and I might stop by down there to, catch a game.
I want to go. I want
to
the opening game,
Yeah, we should all go down there. Why not? We got nothing better to do.
We got the whole summer.
We got the whole summer and summer. And of course, we got the World Cup as well. So, with all that said and done, for Nick Lianos, Miguel Nunez, and myself, Gary Redmond, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We shall see you guys next week. Until
and Gary,
yeah,
up the Arsenal. Thank you very much. All right.
I thought we were playing. Yeah, I thought you was gonna turn this in a rated.
No.
Don't do
up
that.
The Arsenal.
All right.
Come on, you Gunners.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you guys next week. Till then,
take care.